Hey, hey.
How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Body Slam TNA post show. As all everyone knows, I'm Bert. I'm joined by Io. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain. Having a pretty interesting week of wrestling, not just on our shows, but also on the internet. Uh, our favorite Hall of Famer, if is having a good time on messing around with the trolls. So I'm just kind of laughing along. But besides that, everything else is doing good. I mean, it was a pretty good week for TNA, especially from last Tuesday, which we'll get into. But how you feeling?
Yeah, I thought that this was kind of like, for the people who have been calling for this invasion. You know what I mean? Kind of like, when is this NXT TNA rivalry gonna like really start? I think they got their wish this week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With the way the whole episode was kind of shaped around of NXT, of TNA wrestlers kind of, I guess, paying off from their tweets from a week ago, just talking about how they were sick of the way things are going down. A lot of them showed up, and it wasn't just a few people. I don't mean to, I mean, this. I'm
And
not trying to like.
it was throughout the whole show, and what made it good, it was
Yes.
throughout the whole show. Like you saw in segments of like TNA talent creeping around in the backstage, from like the parking lot to like the hallways and like the warehouse areas, the NXT shoots and stuff. So you kind of figure like this is leading to obviously the main event with Trick versus Oba and stuff. So like they did a good job planning it out.
You know,
And of course,
and I'm not
Twitter.
trying.
Sorry, of course, sorry, Twitter was gonna like hype it up and stuff. So like that was like the added the added feel to like Tuesday.
Miguel, I knew, I knew you were gonna bring. You know what? We're gonna get into that,
Yeah,
but I knew you were gonna say that. Um, Shout out Miguel. Uh, to me, and I don't not trying to compare this to the AEW from Robert, but I will say this tonight reminded me and kind of reminded me how the whole throughout the whole time with TNA working with AEW, I kept calling for, and I'm sure other people did, for TNA wrestlers to show up on Dynamite. You know what I mean? Because at the time, TNA was running like next to nobody, because this was during the, you know what I mean, like coming off the pandemic. I think they were running zero crowds while AEW was starting to, you know, get a little bit bigger and starting allowing people. But yeah, it would have been really cool to see wrestlers from TNA show up on that show. But this was, so that's why I bring up tonight. I mean Tuesday, because yeah, that was really awesome to see TNA wrestlers like throughout the building and showing up. You know what I mean? Getting
yeah,
that more exposure.
yeah,
Yeah, that was awesome.
yeah. This was kind of like I know you mentioned AEW. To me, this was kind of like the closest WWE's had to like this since the ECW invasion, WCW
Yeah,
invasion, and from 2001. And like what's interesting is like is actually between two separate companies. I mean, like back then, like WWE pretty much owned both companies at that time, but this is between two separate companies. And rumor has it, like yeah, the WWE filed a special interest in trademark term, um, invasion. Spoiler alert. So you kind of figure like yeah, this is only the start of something beginning. And like yeah, some of the TNA talent they got a good pop, especially one Matt Cardona. So
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, but yeah,
You know, what's funny about that?
yeah,
I like, and you know what I mean. I think people poke fun at it, but just the idea of kind of Cardona getting his wish. Yeah, he's finally back in kind of the WWE eyes. You know what I mean, on
yeah,
WWE TV. So good for him.
yeah. And Cody and John Cena chiming in too. So yeah, yeah, good for him. He finally made his way back.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, before we get into everything that we have on for tonight, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about, I just want to remind everyone that this week's podcast is sponsored by Shroom Bar, the protein mushroom bar. It's made up of not psychedelics, but four powerful mushroom adaptogens. It has lion's mane, which increases focus, memory, and neuroplasticity, making it easier to form new patterns and learn new things. Next time you're trying to learn that new move, it might actually stick in your head rather than forgetting it immediately. It has cordyceps, which increases VO2 max, blood flow, and overall endurance. It has reishi, which decreases stress. It has turkey tail, which boosts your immune system. And we all know you're going to need that when you're on those nasty ass gym mats. On top of all that, it has 12 grams of protein. Go to eatshroombar.com and use code BODYSLAM at checkout for 25% off your first order. Okay, let's get into it. And before we even start to talk about current TNA, tonight's episode I thought was very, very good for a go home show. Let's get into a little bit of Hall of Fame news. As
Hmm.
I think a lot of people have saw this week, it was announced that not only is Mickey James getting in, but the beautiful people. I think both of those are extremely well deserved. But I'm going to start real quick with the beautiful people. I think that one, I'm surprised it took this long. Just because I think not only they're like the top faction in TNA, you know, terms, and I think a lot of people would agree with that, especially TNA fans. But I think they're one of the better factions of all time. At least in the last like few years. I mean, the beautiful people were money. And the people who watched at that time, they were getting heat with that game. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think that again, Mickey well deserved. But yeah, the beautiful people to me, that's like a first ballot. You know, that's a no brainer to me.
Yeah, this was we eventually, I mean, us TNA fans knew this was eventually going to come. Um, it's awesome that's happening now. Yeah, for Angelina Love and Velvet Sky. Yeah, they came in at a time, when obviously, when women's wrestling was kind of like look less upon, and weren't taken as serious, like the eye candy and da 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 and stuff. They kind of like when they came in, they kind of like. I mean, of course, like when they officially became together, like the beautiful people, they kind of basically created the blueprint of like how a mean girl's faction should be. Like, yeah, they can be eye candy ish, but they can also be serious. Like, you can also like boo them for like what they're doing, not just boo or cheer because they look hot or whatnot and stuff. So like, yeah, they basically they kind of created the blueprint. And what I mean is by that, like years after you see these other female factions, not to take a shot at them or whatnot, to like the Lay Cools, the the Lay Cools, or I'll even say Damage Control, the Nightmare Collective. I know you remember that,
I'm
and
I'm trying to think of
of
Team
course
Bad. You know
Fatal
what I
Influence.
mean?
Yeah, yes, Team Bad, Fatal Influences. Yeah, I mean before that there wasn't really a like a serious female group. Is what I'm trying to
Mm-hmm.
say until like the beautiful people came along. So yeah, I'm happy for. I mean, obviously stoked because yeah, because their segments, their stuff was like getting TNA's highest ratings, I believe. Like that's been brought up a lot of times, like highest ratings and stuff. So they were actually quite the draw at the time. Um, what was I going to say? So yeah, like people always kind of give credit to like the Gail Kims, the Awesome Kongs, the ODBs. Like you definitely got to add in the beautiful people as a part of like why the Knockouts division was the revolutionized for women's wrestling. So yeah, definitely happy for both girls. I was there at Impact 1000 uh, when they returned. The pop, I can tell you, the pop was crazy. Like as soon as that music hits, I might bring it up in a minute. As soon as that music hits, like we know, like we were getting all that. We were like getting that nostalgia feel, and of course, a lot of the current knockouts they are big fans of the beautiful people, Killer Kelly in particular and stuff. So yeah, it's I'm really glad like this is a really I mean, we're gonna get to Mickey in a few, but like this is a yeah I'm really glad this is a female Hall of Fame class. How you feel?
Yeah, if they don't,
I'm sorry, real quick.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I remember that. You know what I mean? I popped major just because one, you can't have 1,000 episode of Impact without the beautiful people, just like everything you said. You know what I mean? Just for a
yeah,
while, they were like the most talked about thing on TNA TV.
yeah,
Uh,
and
yeah,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm really in my
And
head.
it's the original to how it should be. I know people have been commenting like, what
Yeah,
about Madison Rain or this and that or it's the original two. Madison will get her shine when it's time, but it's the original two, the one who the original two who made it, who got it over off the map. So yeah, extremely
I had joked,
happy.
why isn't Kip getting in? You know what I mean? Because you know what I mean. But I'm fine with that, even though he wasn't really in there long, and it was more of that was more of the gimmick point. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
but yeah, I'm fine with the original two. Obviously, have to go in. Like that's the no brainer part.
yeah.
And okay, and I'm glad you had mentioned her because I hope people don't think I'm doing misjustice to Mickey because Mickey's also in my head another first ballot Hall of Famer because also, and I think a lot of people would think this as well, and I would hope they would think this. She's in a long list of people who went on from WWE to TNA that I think have a better career. I think TNA treated her much more seriously. I think that every run she had in TNA, just everything she did in TNA, just had more, again, no pun intended, impact with, you know what I mean? I just think that the way that she was viewed in TNA, you know what I mean? She is a huge star in TNA when she's there. And I just think it's the way that they present her as opposed in WWE.
They presented Mickey as like they really present her like as the star that she should be, as the star that she is.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's very talented in all traits, like not just the wrestling, but also her music career. She's a very good mentor and stuff. So like from like day one, I mean, and of course, for some folks who don't know, she was in TNA in the early 2000s. I mean, like in the way early 2000s before WWE. She was a part of a Ravens group. If you want to go look back on that, so yeah, Mickey and TNA kind of go way back, so to speak, or so. But yeah, they always kind of understood her and kind of like treated her like yeah, like as a big star, not just like a not just like a flyby talent, just um how to put this in a way like basically like they know like they know what she's capable of and stuff. While in WWE
Mm-hmm.
on their hand, yeah, in WWE on their hand, like yeah, Mickey came in. Of course, she became um, the stalker, with Trish Stratus and stuff. I mean, obviously they had a great, fantastic rivalry, no doubt about that. And then once Trish left, and then of course she feuded with Lita. When Lita left, Mickey kind of like floundered under along with the other mid card level divas. No offense, and she never really kind of got back to that spotlight, back to that main spotlight. So till maybe like about till the time Late Cool feud came around, and that was a rough one. I'm sure you know about the the Piggy James storyline and
Yeah.
stuff. So it was long story short, it was kind of like up and down for Mickey's career in the WWE. And then the second run she came back for not didn't live up to expectations, in my so to speak. And then eventually led to the time when she got released. She brought this up too. Like they apparently put her stuff in a black bag. I'm sure you heard the story, right? In a black bag.
Yes.
Yeah. And then that kind of like caused a lot of stir. Like, oh, this is how they treat release talent and stuff. But anyway, fast forward. Yeah. Um, this is a long time coming for Mickey because her career screams Hall of Fame for not just like for not just WWE and TNA for entirely. She's a great mentor, great talent, great. I mentioned like great. All of this like a lot of people are in this business because of her. I know our favorite Kiera Hogan. She talks about how Mickey wasn't much of an influence to her, and so to speak. So I'm very glad she's very finally getting her flowers. I know the Boston crowd is going to be, the Boston crowd is going to be very loud for both Mickey and the beautiful people. Um, yeah, so this is the perfect to me. This is the perfect class. Like,
She,
yeah, especially for like women's wrestling, the perfect class. You have two iconics. Yeah, two iconics there.
it kind of symbolizes TNA in a lot of, what I mean, just kind of it's just one more thing that like T- TNA's always been about the knockouts, you know what I mean? So it's just one
Yeah.
more thing that solidifies that. Also, real quick, Mickey did survive being pushed onto a train tracks by James Storm. So if anyone remembers that storyline,
Yeah.
that was a good one. But yeah, these are two well deserved.
James Stewart talked about that recently. That
Duty.
apparently some cops went to his house about that. He
Really?
yeah. So like yeah, real quick. Yeah, some cops went to his house about that. Uh, Thankfully, his brother's a cop too, so they kind of like try to convince this other cop like it was work and da 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 and stuff. But yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. Yeah, it's pretty funny how much that hooked. But yeah, yeah, it's crazy that we're still talking about it. But
Okay. Next, we're gonna just move on. We have a little. I thought there was a little bit more free agency talk than I was originally thinking, but you know, as well, obviously one of the ones that I am thinking for sure, as everyone knows. Let me pull up the article. Uh, did you have any other ones as well?
I was gonna bring up Kurt Angle's debut 19 years ago, as of yesterday. If you want to if you want to talk about that real quick.
Okay. No, yeah. The only one that I was really thinking of is obviously is that Jasmine Nix from WWE it will not be re-signing with the company. Um,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily like a big name, but I would say this, because she had wrestled in TNA a few times. Obviously she wrestles for NXT predominantly, but she was in a TNA for I believe like two matches. I believe with Fallon, if I'm correct.
A couple
I would say
matches.
this.
She had a
Was that
singles, a lot of tag matches. She had a singles with Sia Brookside. That's about it. But yeah, so apparently, according to well, as while we wait for Bird, apparently according to Jasmine, that WWE made an offer for her to resign, and she didn't like the offer that they presented to her. I think in her mind, like it wasn't financially enough. So yeah, guess they kind of WWE kind of just didn't really want to like continue at it up better, and then they just kind of parted ways. So yeah, so what they did to write her off, and then last Tuesday, Jasmine was laid out backstage. And then in comes Fallon and JC. They were kind of like surprised to see it, but then they just kind of switch turns and say, you know what, she had it coming. Like it's uh, it's time to drop her. Like da da da. Basically, they just kind of left her there. Like she's out of the Fatal Influence group. So yeah, so Jasmine's gone from the company. Um, where will she land to next? I don't think she's, in my opinion, she's that much of a catch to get immediately. No disrespect, but hopefully she still wrestles. And they do little indies and stuff, and then maybe who knows. Maybe she'll have a better career in the indies or whatever company picks her up. But to me, I felt like I wasn't really kind of like impressed more. Like, I mean, she does a good Pele kick, some good there and there.
Right.
That's just me because I didn't get to see much of her ring. Hey, what's up, Rod? We'll just talk
Sorry,
about.
folks.
I know you good. You good. So, we'll just talk
Just
about. I'll just talk about how they wrote Jasmine off backstage. With JC and Fallon, and what's next for her and stuff. So, yeah, what do you think about her release?
I just the only thing I was gonna say is that, as with a lot of people, I just thought that she did show a little bit more flashes when she was in TNA. And no way am I saying that, like, oh, I thought, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying Jasmine's greater and TNA should immediately sign her. But what I'm saying is that if she ended up in TNA, I'm not going to hate on it just because, one, depth is always needed, especially because TNA does have a focus on that division. You know what I mean? So it's not like she's going to be underused, and it's not like they're going to get not get what they're signing for. I mean, what they're paying for. But yeah, like you said, she's she the Pele kick that's pretty good. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It okay. Let's move on to what you had brought up before, because this is very
All right.
important. I forgot to mention this at the beginning of the show. I'll let you take this
Yeah.
one.
All right. So, as of yesterday, I believe, 19 years ago to the day that the announcement was made that Kurt Angle was coming to TNA. Uh, During the No Surrender pay per view in 2006, at the end, where Jim Cornette made the announcement that, well, after he said that TNA Impact was going prime time, then there another announcement was made, and then they showed the vignette of Kurt Angle. That's when the Impact Zone went nuts. Went completely nuts. At the time, and honestly, at the time, I wasn't fully watching TNA at the time, but when I heard Kurt was coming there, that kind of caught my full attention because Kurt, Kurt was still like a red hot in my opinion at the time. I know he had his issues; it's been well documented and stuff. So like to hear like when he left WWE is just like it just kind of like it was kind of like it took everyone back seats. I'm sure you were watching too at that time. Um, so to hear that there was this other company that he's at is like, okay, well, where can I watch this? And then thankfully, it's on a channel I got, Spike TV. So yeah, Kurt debuted. Uh, the night the announcement made, I remember I just shared with the group chat. So Dixie Carter apparently said that the night that announcement made, she was on the phone with Kurt. They had like she was on the phone with Kurt, and like they couldn't hear each other talk because of the loud pop, the loud ovation that has got. And so yeah, it was a pretty cool moment. The rest is history. As we know, Angle had a great career in TNA and stuff. So um, if you can take me back, what was your thoughts when Kurt left WWE and then when he came to TNA?
Well, I wasn't. I was, in and out of kind of watching wrestling at the time. I know of it. I knew of it, but it's interesting that, like you said, for him to leave TNA, I mean to WWE and to go to TNA, that was a kind of bold move. You're like, wow, because yeah, I don't know why he would leave
Yeah,
WWE. Obviously,
yeah,
we know the circumstances around it,
yeah,
but yeah, he as we know, he went on to kind of have, as what many people talk about. I believe Kurt has even admitted himself. I think he said he had a better career in TNA.
yeah.
I agree.
And at the time,
Um,
Christian was there. The Dudleys was there. Like you had to as a wrestling fan, you had to take notice of like, hey, these very well known talent, they're joining this wrestling company. Like I gotta take a look at it, and then they're having a better career. Well, some than than they were in WWE. So it just kind of basically like when Kurt came, it was like the last field that TNA needed to you know take them to new places. So yeah, the rest was history.
what are some of your favorite Kurt moments in TNA?
Um, the matches with Samoa Joe, the matches with Abyss, the main event Mafia. Um, I did enjoy the Angle Jarrett feud.
Mm-hmm.
And what else? What else? What else? That's about it. That's about it.
You know, I thought his stuff toward the end, when like he kind of went on the run where if he loses he's gonna retire. I
Oh
thought
yeah,
that
oh
was
yeah,
good.
that was good. Yeah,
Um, his stuff with Anderson. Uh, obviously, main event Mafia. Obviously,
yeah.
we had just recently talked about his match with Abyss.
Oh yeah, the matches with
You know,
Styles. How can I forget that?
yeah.
The matches with AJ Styles was good.
Kurt's. There's a lot of just funny moments too. I remember Kurt. Kurt's so underrated at con. He shouldn't be underrated, but I always remember like the promo where he cut where he's in the tanning booth. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
Kurt's so fun. You know what I mean? And then like I believe they had I believe it was Thanksgiving at the Angle House. I think everyone's seen that thing. That was hilarious.
yeah.
But yeah, Kurt Angle overall, like just going back to the point you brought up in the beginning, where we're all were talking about this, Kurt Angle to TNA was a game changer. You know what I mean? And he definitely lived up to that hype.
Definitely.
Okay. Anything else you can think of? I you need to bring up. We should bring up before we get into tonight's show.
I think that's about covers it. Like we talked about main things that happened during the week, so I think we're good.
Okay, let's get into tonight's show then. As you know, it is the Victory Road show, go home show.
Yeah.
I think it was a very good show. Uh, all things considered, I don't know why I'm saying that, but yeah, I think that they hit a home run tonight, just in terms of execution. Match wise, getting it ready, and then just overall. Well, what did you think about it before we get into the match by match?
It was a it was a pretty good show. Um, we kind of speed things up as we're basically heading to Bound for Glory. It kind of it was kind of like a go home show for Victory Road, but also like a preview for Bound for Glory as well as we talked. They showed us another good Mike Santana vignette. Uh, the Team 3D. Team 3D was here tonight. Along with Dudley's. I enjoyed their final negotiation segment. Some good matches. We had a couple returns. Well, one return as we'll get into, and then of course the Mr. Anderson was back in the ring. So yeah, we had some good nostalgia along with some present stuff for tonight's episode.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't have said exactly. Some nostalgia, some present stuff. That's the perfect way to. That almost could be the title of the show. That's a little wordy, but all right, let's get into it. We open up with Rascals. The Rascals, obviously, it's Wentz and Trey Miguel. Myron Reed is on commentary, which I did enjoy, versus Leon Slater and Cedric Alexander. Dude, this is what the kind of match you open up a show with. You know what I mean? You want something fast paced, something to get the fucking crowd going. This was awesome. Also, for the people who like matches, not only really to tell a story, but just kind of keep things going in terms of feuds and stuff. You have Myron on commentary, and you just have obviously Hannafin bringing up his match tomorrow night, which I think is going to be obvious. I think it's easily the match of the night. You have him versus Leon Slater for the X Division championship. But this was such a good match. What do you think about this, Io?
Yeah, this was a great way to kick off the episode. This, traditional exhibition style. Uh, I'm glad they're keeping Cedric and Leon as a team in some occasions and stuff. Uh, it was good that Myron Reed was on commentary. Supporting his brothers. Uh, yeah, a lot of good sequence actions. Yeah, I really did like a lot of counters from the Rascals. As they're good, and to seeing the way they move, reminds me of the Machine Guns and stuff. So yeah, this was a good way. This was a good opener. Leon hitting the Swanton 450 on Trey, getting the pin. Building momentum for his title defense, and then Myron got into the ring. They both stared off. So yeah, this was a good opener.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, the ending, just them kind of having the kind of stare off, kind of going back and forth. Obviously trash talking. You know what I mean? Kind of. I really like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't really take much. You know what I'm saying? You don't really have to do much. Just those little moments. Yeah, this was awesome. I like the team and Leon and Cedric too. Like, it'd be cool if Cedric sticks around. Obviously, Leon's there for, I would think, a bit. Them as a team, if they come back to that, I would definitely be down for seeing that. But we're gonna get into when we get into our predictions. But now I'm kind of torn. You know what I mean? Part of me does kind of want to see Myron do it, but I don't want to see. I don't think Leon's run should end anytime soon. But yeah, I know this was awesome. This was good. Okay. Next, we're gonna get into what I thought this segment, for just how short it was money. It was Kazarian and Jake something, and Kazarian just basically, I think, says what we've all kind of been wanting and clamming for. Like, he just basically says Jake something's finally got it. You know what I mean? He knows that Kazarian, it's the guy that's going to take him over the top and make him something. I really like this.
Yeah, it seems like this Jake Something's in a good position. Sided with Frankie Kazarian, who's a very narcissistic, arrogant, type of heel character. Always talks about himself mostly, but now he has someone watching him in his back. Yeah, sure, should be. It's kind of like similar to like the Sean Diesel, type of thing. What I mean, say like the flamboyant, cocky, talent with the bodyguard behind him and stuff. So I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see where this goes.
Yeah,
As we'll get into later.
there's been plenty of pairings like this in TNA. You know what I mean? I always and obviously, like, when you're building a faction or like a group, or like, it always makes sense. Like, if you're gonna pair the veteran, obviously that's gonna be Kazarian here with like the younger, bigger guy. You know what I mean? Who doesn't necessarily need him, but he does need him because, like we said, because Jake something is missing that something. So hopefully they found something here with this. Okay. Next, we're going to probably to the first of my, where I put my face down watching the show. Doesn't mean it was a bad show. We had Victoria Crawford versus Jody Threat. This was good. Jody Threat is always is really good. You know what I mean? I almost think she's underrated at this point. Victoria Crawford, I don't think is bad. But to me, this was more about Tessa's return.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like, I don't. To be honest, I don't remember most of the match besides Jody getting a lot of offense in and stuff. And of course, it's nothing against Victoria. I know, she's well liked. I mean, she's obviously well liked and stuff. Uh, but you're hanging around with some of these younger knockout cats, and like you gotta catch up and like execute. It's also y'all also executing your moves the right way and stuff like. Because like mainly, she does like her finisher, the axe kick. Sometimes she doesn't hit it right, or like it's a miscommunication miss or whatnot and stuff. So I don't know. At some point, I mean, I don't know. That's just my day. At some point, like something's gotta improve. So no offense to her, but yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. This match was basically the distraction. Jody got distracted. The the familiar music hits. You know, the one, the only Tessa Blanchard returns. As commentary mentioned, yeah, her suspension was lifted thanks to Gia Miller. So it seems like they're continue. Yeah, they're definitely continuing this. It seems like now it's involving Jody Threat. Uh, so we're gonna see how this Tessa Gia Miller feud continues. Probably a single. Well, I mean, probably. I was thinking maybe tomorrow. They should do a singles match, Tessa versus Jody, because they're in Canada and Jody's Canadian. So I guess we'll see. What was your thoughts? I mean, I know like it's no secret. It's no secret. You like, what's your thoughts when Tessa appeared again?
you know what though? Let me just say that because because it would be I want to see if at least I mean if Victoria's going to be around in TNA, I want to see her improve. Um, I think the best way to do that, and I honestly think that it's more of a again softer thing to swallow, especially if Test having a title. Why don't you put these two together as a knockouts tag team? You know what I mean? I have no problem with them as champions. And again, I'm not gonna hide I'm not hiding my disdain for Tessa, but I'm not gonna like disrespect her work. You know what I mean? Tessa's great in the ring, so that's
Especially,
definitely kind of how you hide Victoria's weaknesses by pairing her with a great worker. So
especially the way things are right now, we could use a talent like Tessa, especially since we have a certain talent who's uh, going away for a while. But we'll get into that.
yes,
So yeah,
yeah,
we could definitely use a talent like Tesla right now. So, no question.
exactly.
But yeah, you're right. They're definitely, if Victoria is still sticking around, then yeah, they should pair them up and put them in the knockouts title contention.
Yes. Okay. Next, we're just gonna go to a quick Joe Henry promo. He just kind of basically fired back at Eric Young. You know what I mean? That seems to be the feud going on right now, and I like that. You know what I mean? As we've talked about, um, Eric Young's definitely the old man, kind of trying. You know what I mean? Kind of just trying to take his anger out on everyone. And this time he's picked Joe Henry. Uh, yeah, this is. I like this feud. And this promo was fine.
Yeah, this was a really fired up Joe Hendry that we haven't had in quite some time. Uh, he lets them know that how serious of a threat it shows how serious of a threat Eric Young right now is to him. Like Aaron Young is trying to quote unquote cleanse some things, and Joe Henry's at the top of the list. Uh, I mean, what's interesting? It's funny. Like one thing I would hope they kind of add. Uh, well, I mean, it don't matter because the match is tomorrow. I was expecting it to be Bound for Glory, but I guess it's happening tomorrow. I was gonna say if they continue the feud, Aaron Young should bring up the fact that Joe Hendry didn't show up when the invasion occurred last Tuesday. Like you notice the TNA talent,
Uh-huh.
NXT talent, but there's no Joe Hendry. And I know folks on Twitter are kind of like da 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 and stuff. Well, oh well, he's already out the door, da 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 and stuff like traitor, da 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 stuff like why wasn't he there and da 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 stuff like. I mean, that's something like that's something like Eric Young would say, don't you think? So like that would kind of like add to add to their feud. But yeah, since the match is happened,
Yeah.
yeah,
And you know what? Let me real quick. I just want to address that talk. I think that when people get kind of say that about Joe, that almost reminds me of when a little bit like them just writing Joe off in terms of like, oh, saying Joe's already gone. You know what I mean? That's kind of like when someone would say, oh, if someone's going to another company, they're not going to watch. You know what I mean? I don't like how people have just written basically just saying Joe's already gone.
same,
If even if that's true, it's like TNA's still using him. You know what I mean? He's still committed to TNA. When you know what I mean? It's not like he's out there like half-assing his segments or anything. Like he's got one foot out the door. You know what I mean?
same.
So I think that talk is a little. I don't like that.
Me neither. Like he's still like he's still selling still selling tickets and merchandise and stuff. So of course TNA is still going to use the remainder of his deal and stuff. So I don't understand the complaint. I mean, I guess from like a TV standpoint, like oh he's leaving, why is he on our TV screen? That is well he's on the TV screen because people want to see him. People want to
Uh-huh.
yeah, simple as that. People want to see him, no matter what,
Uh-huh.
no matter what the company. Like that's just how it is. And of course, like the way it seems like I know we're talking much about Joe. Like everything went the way is how it's supposed to be. Like Joe got over by his own merits, mind you. TNA took advantage of that. They ran with him for like a year and a half, and it paid off. Well, in their account, because it paid off because he ended up, being like this huge viral sensation that transacted from both companies. He done a lot of numbers for TNA, done a lot of numbers for WWE, and yeah, worked out well. The Rumble, Randy Orton, like like Joe is only from Joe Henderson, but Joe is only just getting started. Like he's gonna go up to here. Like you can imagine, like what's next for him and stuff. And I know folks are a little, certain folks, are kind of a little tired of the yak and da da da. Well, hey, well, Joe is well. That's kind of Joe Hendry. What were you expecting him like to be a serious character? Like
Yeah.
not like exactly like even if WWE wanted to, I mean maybe at some point, but like why would you break? Why would you fix the quote unquote? Why would you fix something that's not broken? Like you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
maybe in another time when his say his name here appears da 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 like wears off maybe, but at the same time if it's working out for well for him, then again why fix something that's not broken. Like I don't understand,
Exactly.
like yeah,
Exactly.
all right, Joe doesn't have to be your cup of tea, but at the same time what he's doing at the point is what he's doing is working, like, and it's still working. He's still getting pops. um he's still like this genie, like like this genie, where they say his name and he actually appears. I thought NXT did pretty good with presented that, like Hank and Tank, Hank and Tank, this tag team in NXT, they always they're in dire straits, feuding with Dark States, and then they say the name and he appears. Like it worked out perfectly. So yeah,
I love how you said that. Back to what you said, like talking about why would they change? It'd be like if you had a successful show and somebody came in
exactly.
before the second season and said, "Let's change everything." It'd be like, why would you do that? Like when you have a proven
It'd be
formula.
like it'd be like trying to get rid of I know. I'm gonna use this example because they just had a show tonight. It'd be like getting rid of Ice T for from Law and Order, and like
Yeah.
yeah, you know what I'm saying, like because like Ice T is like the sizzle and glue of that, the Law and Order stuff. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. What I'm trying to say is don't fix something that's not broken. Like
Yeah, I could exactly. That the well said.
especially when WWE sees these numbers growing up, like it's gonna take a lot more than that for them to change their mind. So yeah, Yeah, Joe's doing great things right now. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more with you. Okay, next we're gonna and just it was actually another promo. What I thought was really good. It's basically just system and everyone got time to spoke. But what kind of stood out to me, Brian Myers mentioning JDC's down, but he will be there. But Moose, just basically talking about, he was going out Ali, because it's going to be the two of them. But just finishing with the catchphrase, I thought this was really good.
Yeah, this was good. This was a good segment of the system. Yeah, preparing for hardcore war. Uh, and yeah, Moose laying it down. So must have felt like leave your guys in the back. I'll leave my guys in the back. Really builds up for their match for tomorrow.
Yeah, which we're gonna come back to this. We'll not come back to it, but when we talk about, we're gonna talk more because when Ali answers, we're gonna find more about that. Talk more about that match tomorrow night. Okay, next we get what I thought was a very fun match. Kind of blew away my expectations. We had a battle royale qualifier. The winner being number 20 in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet battle royale, and the loser being number 1. Being 20 is a big advantage. Number
Yeah,
1, obviously that's like coming out first in the Royal Rumble. That's not good. But it was Mara Sade, Matt Cardona, HTM, AJ Francis, Mance Warner, Zaya Brookside, Lei Ying Lee, Rosemary, Killer Kelly, and Ryan Nemeth. Yeah, like I said, this was fun.
yeah. Some interesting talent in the battle royal. I'm quite sure. Honestly, I know. Oh, we'll get into the matter. I'm quite surprised. Brookside and Lei Ying were in this. I would assume they would probably get a tag title shot at Bound for Glory, but that's for another time. Yeah, this was a good. This was obviously TNA's no shot of doing intergender stuff.
Mhm.
Like that's why you see a lot of the knockouts involved in this and stuff. It was a pretty fun stuff. You mentioned you forgot one dude, AJ Francis was in this.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, AJ
Yeah,
Francis
and
was in this.
yeah, yeah, and He came out before. Obviously, he was one of the few people that we got an entrance, but he came out. Noticed that he was wearing the Edwards Nikes, and I liked how
Yeah,
he tied it in and said, and unlike the Minnesota Timberwolves, he won't be getting eliminated early, which
yeah,
was karma, unfortunately for him.
yeah.
Um, uh, I thought that kind of moment of this match, at least one of them, was when he talked about that he was going to choke slam Rosemary. You see Zaya right behind there, and she just kind of, her mouth was, she was shocked by
Yeah,
that one. Did you see that, Io?
yeah. I saw the
Um,
Rosemary ain't gonna take nothing from anyone,
yeah,
especially big old AJ Francis, and he paid for that with the Green Mist, and of course, yeah, they all ganged up on him and then throw him over the top. So
and yeah, I like how, yes, that basically led to, that was the first elimination because obviously, exactly, Rosemary ain't going to take that shit. Um, so that led to them all ganging up on AJ, and I like that. That's a very, that's a spot you're gonna see. You know what I mean? You're gonna gang up and get out the biggest person, the biggest threat. That's the quickest way to succeed. Next, we had uh, Killer Kelly eliminates Mara. This was quickly after. I was a little disappointed by this just because I was kind of hoping that Mara would have lasted a little bit longer. But again, this is one match. You know what I mean? This is one match. It's not that big of a deal. Next, we have Kelly eliminated by Zaya. I like this. This was good just because the way that Zaya was, she had a little bit of help from Lei, obviously, but I like that they were teaming up just because they are the kind of newly formed team. But what do you think so far up into this point, Isle?
this was a good way to showcase some of the lesser feature talent. Um, yeah, kind of give them a shine. Yeah, I did like some of the eliminations. As you notice, yeah, Ryan Nemeth was out of the ring until he showed up later. Uh, which is clever, you know. Heels, you know, they wait till they pick their time. Uh, yeah, a lot of good showcasing for like Matt Cardona, Mance Warner, the Ancient Warriors. Um, I forget who else was in it. Yeah, Killer Kelly, Rosemary. Oh yeah, Marshall Day was in it. Yeah, this is a pretty good. It shows, we have some really cool talents. Showcasing this battle royal. And of course, yeah, this is not everyone. They're gonna do surprise entrance and stuff, and from when Battle for Glory occurs. Um, yeah, some good eliminations and stuff.
I like the trope of you had like obviously the most coward wrestler, obviously this being Ryan Nemeth in the role. He kind of faking being eliminated. He kind of helped eliminate HTM and Cardona. You know, man, he kind of assisted in Mance doing that. And then obviously, he was in there just kind of not like, just kind of wreaking havoc, but you know what I mean? Just like being a nuisance. Obviously, he was eliminated. It came down to Lay and Mance. Mance won. Based on Mance did have 3 eliminations. I really like that just because I could see him winning this match, which I'm totally fine with because I don't know. I don't know why I've talked about him more, but he was always a guy to me. Like when I would see him, I watched him a few times in GCW and on the Indies, but he kind of stood out more to me than just like a guy who you would see doing like hardcore matches, especially like when I would see him in GCW. He just seemed like a guy who I don't know. He stood out to me, and I think he's got like he was always a guy to me. And when he signed with TNA, I'm like that's a TNA guy. You know what I mean? I think that they're gonna put it all together, and he's gonna put it all together in TNA. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't. I really like Mance.
yeah. I think right now we're kind of seeing like what he's capable of, like outside doing the whole love, making out, seeing with his fiance stuff, the lander and stuff. Like, I mean, if you pay attention to Explosion, he's on a good streak so far. I think. Well, that except for that one loss to the hometown man. But this is a good way for folks to be reminded of what Mansmore is capable of. And I like that Lei Ling. Now she's now the first entrant for at the Call Your Shot. Really, so it'll give a chance to get some shine on her, as she, runs the gauntlet. Hopefully, maybe she might last till the final 3 or final 4 or whatnot. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this is some very interesting choices. Yeah, Mansoor at number 2, Lady Ling at number 1. So, yeah, so yeah,
Mance is at 20, right?
Mans is at 20. Yeah,
Yeah, and what's cool about the Call Your Shot Gauntlet is you can use it for any title. You know what I mean? So, and obviously we've seen Jordan. You know what I mean? I think she won it and called out the digital media champion. Is that who she called out?
no, she called out the Knockouts title.
Okay, but yeah, the this should be a fun match. It always is. Okay, next we're just gonna move into a Mike Santana video, and this was interesting. Um, and I think I hope I'm getting the actors. At one point, I'm like, is this Edward James Olmos narrating? Like, I didn't know who was narrating. You know what I mean? This was a really interesting video. You know what I mean? TNA's been really stepping their production up lately. This was this was good. What did you think about this?
Yeah, I knew it was going to be great. Santana never misses with his promos, his vignettes,
Mm-hmm.
like anything, anything he's involved with the production crew and stuff. Like it's just real good stuff. Like you see why the fans are behind him, like why he's
Uh-huh.
this great talent because he's real. Like he's
Mm-hmm.
real. He's like any other Boricua, a Boricua native in the Bronx that that's trying to work hard for his family and whatnot. Like everyone can relate to that. So you basically kind of see like, and of course who has his demons and stuff. Basically he's someone that people can relate to right off the bat. So going into Bound for Glory, yeah, he's essentially to quote Cody Rhodes, he's essentially like the quarterback of TNA right now. Like he wants that pressure. He wants to be the one where there's stakes at hand. Of course, Trick with the TNA title, he wants to be the one to bring it home. So, and it made sense too. Like he went during Tuesday that he started the brawl when Trick slapped him in the face and stuff. So yeah, this was a good way to build us up to the title match. And I'm just watching it right now and stuff. Some really good shots and backstage scene.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah,
I really liked about it. It was really well done. And again,
and what's good, yeah,
um,
and what's good. The last time they did this, like you had Mike's late dad, with the voice message to his son. So this one you have his daughter, wishing him well wishes and stuff like that. Stuff kind of just hits you, especially especially if you're a
mhm,
father. That just hits you
mhm.
because the the children are motivation. So going into Bound for Glory, his daughter is the big time motivation.
Yeah, we saw it, you know what I mean? That was a big part of the video, you know what I mean, a part of the video. So yes,
Yeah,
very well said, Io. Um, okay. Next we're gonna move into a segment I kind of had mixed feelings about because, and I you can I don't want you to start us out with this one, but it was Santana in the ring, and this was, I guess you would call, the contract signing, but this was the Hardys in with team
final
Team
negotiation.
3D. Yeah. What were your thoughts on this whole thing? And I'll go after you.
Um, I mean, it was a good segment. I mean, it was a decent segment. I'll just say that. Both teams got great pops. Devon looked good. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen him on screen, but so yeah, they just kind of like. I mean, you know, it's the same old. I respect you. I respect you. Da da da. Like, I know our buddy Mike Gilbert had his own point of view on the thing. So like, yeah, basically, Team 3D and the Dudleys were kind of. I mean, Team 3D and the Hardys were kind of praising each other. Da da da. Like the Hardys have done well in their current career. Um, Team 3D is the great. Hardys are great. We need this match to happen to cement our legacy. Basically, legacy. Da 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 stuff. The same stuff that they've been saying on Twitter, on radios and whatnot. It was just in the segment. And I'm not saying it was bad or not. It was just it's kind of like you want to like you want to like a different edge. Like what makes this last time match important? Um, who needs this win more? Who needs this more? And da 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 and stuff. So I mean, it's rough enough that obviously the tag titles will be on the line for this one, but it's just like you're just kind of feel like they could have added a lot more into it. Like for example, like Ric Flair's last match event. You remember that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like basically, this was about Rick trying to prove he wanted to go out the right way. Like he felt like doing the TNA stuff after the WrestleMania thing when Michaels kind of tarnished his legacy, and he wanted to go off on a good note. You know, doing this whole Ric Flair last match event there. So yeah, basically what
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to say is like it'd be nice if Bubba and Devon kind of like and Matt and Jeff kind of go further. Like, why is this match actually happening? What I'm saying? Not just for like the fans. Like, why do you guys want it to happen? I feel like that would make more sense. Like, why do you guys want this match personally? I mean, hopefully they explain that maybe in some interviews later. But yeah, what was your thoughts on? Yeah, what was your thoughts on the whole thing so far?
Well, here's the thing. In the beginning, they kind of had me at the point where I'm like, a big part of me doesn't want this match to happen, especially for the titles. But then when they're in there, obviously, I'm human. I am a little bit older. I watch this stuff in real time. The nostalgia kicks in. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
these are two teams from my youth. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Um, Obviously, they kept beating it over the head a little bit. The two of the greatest tag teams in the world. I think that's true. That rings more true to one of them, the Hardys. But I'm not going to debate that here.
yeah.
But then it's like you said, this just kept going on and on. It's like back and forth. I respect you. You know what I mean? And finally, we got to, and like I think a little bit. So basically, the whole match boils down to, and I can't believe the titles are on the line. Which that I can't believe that happened. The Dudleys are upset because they lost in their match, a tables match. So bottom line is they want a tables match. So I guess they're upset because they lost their match. I guess that's why we're getting this. I don't know. Like you said, I don't get it.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I just feel like yeah, a lot more they should have brought up like why is this match happening? Like,
Exactly.
is it like a prove it? Is it like a prove it thing? Because I'm pretty sure like that's part of one of the reasons. So anyway, the the first I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry. I'm trying to remember like what was the negotiation. So Matt and Jeff, obviously they offered it, put up the world tag titles on the line,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think Bubba and Devon kind of said that's not good enough. Um, and of course, they would bring up their historic tables match, from the Royal Rumble 2000, and then they said like if we're gonna have this match, it's gonna be our match, and then they made a tables match, and instead of signing the contract, they do the whole old school. I will mention I did like that the old school way of like long before like anything was signed on papers, they do the whole
Uh-huh.
handshake agreement. That's kind of
Uh-huh.
old schoolish. Yeah. So they shook hands, and that's their way of making it official. Tables match for the tag titles bound for glory. Good. Any thoughts?
Yeah. Again, I'm a little upset that it's for the titles. You would think it's like, so wait, the Dudleys are upset. This whole thing was they're upset that they lost their match. So I don't think they're winning the titles. So their last match most likely is gonna be them losing their match. I don't know if they'd want that. So I'm a little nervous that they're gonna win the titles. And then like part of me thinks that. So and we're gonna talk more about that as the weeks come as we get closer to Bound for Glory. But Devon, again, I'm not trying to. I hope I'm not coming off as Devon didn't look like he was in the best shit. You know what I mean? He didn't look that good to me tonight. You know what I mean? I hope that because you could say what you want about the Hardys. Obviously, they're not in their 20s anymore, but the Hardys have been. They look good. They look good for their age. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
think they've been
Yeah.
performing.
Matt's in great shape.
Yeah, they've been.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, no, continue.
No, I was just gonna say that I think the Hardys have kind of blown away expectations. Like the Dudleys, bully acknowledged it. Like the Hardys, TNA's hot because of the Hardys right now. They're
Yeah.
on a really good run. So, yeah. Sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna say I like Devon mentioned that time during the TLC at SummerSlam where him and Jeff were hanging, or we're hanging. I mean, we're hanging with the belts above. You remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, "Never again, you crazy SOB," and I laughed. Good, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
Devon's afraid of heights, so that was funny.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we're gonna move on. Okay. This was kind of the rebuttal to the system promo. this was the Order 4 promo. And, you know, before I say even what the promo, I can't really even talk about this whole promo without you see Agent Zero just right there. He didn't have to say anything. He's just
Yeah,
looming back there. You know what I mean? You just know at any minute he could do something.
yeah, yeah. He's
Um,
he's the secret weapon of the group. Like he doesn't need to say anything. He's just standing there, uh, waiting for when it's time to attack. You know, I like that kind of position he's in.
yeah. Okay. So everyone spoke, and I think everyone shined. Like Hotch, Alexander, Tasha. You know what I mean? She came off like a badass. Like, and again, this is like old Tasha for me this whole time. But Ali, again, he just continues to be firing at all cylinders. But it basically came down to, and I like when they do this, him versus Moose. The stakes are like you see in war games. The winner of this match gets the man advantage in the hardcore war.
Yeah,
I really like that. So I think that it's another layer to that match. But what'd you think about this?
yeah. Tasha made a good line. United they stand, divided the system falls. That was a good line.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's good that they added. Of course, it's hardcore war is basically like war games, League the Lockdown without the steel cage. So yeah, of course they're gonna have to do the whole man advantage. Um, so yeah, with Mustafa and Moose, the two leaders going at it, who gets the main advantage. Yeah, it should be interesting. And what's interesting, yeah, it's going to be 1-on-1. No, everyone banned from ringside, so we should expect barn burner with that one. And I like the last scene where the order four in the system face off, like have that long few seconds standoff, like
Mm-hmm.
that Wild Wild West standoff. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. To me, when I I know they can't have the cage, but the whole time I've been thinking about when I first heard the name Hardcore War, I almost think this is almost going to be like AEW TNA's version of AEW Anarchy in the Arena. State not staying. You know what I mean. Like I think this is going to be like all over the place. Just one big. Shit's going to be happening everywhere. So it'd be cool if we had the cages, but okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Next, we're going to move into the main event, which I like this match. It was, for what it was Kazarian and obviously Jake Something, the newly formed alliance of him and Jake Something, taking on Steve Macklin and the returning, I'm not going to hate on it, Mr. Anderson. And I thought it was very fun. I thought the thing with Macklin getting up on the chair to hold the mic was very fun. You know what I mean? Obviously, everyone knows Mr. Anderson always had the mic come down. Obviously they didn't have
yeah,
that, but I thought that was fun. You know what I mean? But what do you
yeah.
think about this match?
Yeah, this was very good. Sorry, I was gonna say yeah. This was a very good, decent tag match.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm glad the Ken and Macklin did the whole spot where the mic no no mics come from the ceiling. What did they do? And then
Mhm.
they improvise, with the microphone.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that was a good. Yeah, this was a good match. Of course, you have three talented wrestlers and a returning return veteran. Mixing it up. You're gonna get some good stuff. Uh, yeah, Jake and Frankie did well. Like um, taking control of the match, beating down on Anderson and stuff, having him cornered like to their side and stuff, and then told like the able to make the tag. He was able to make the tag to Macklin, and Macklin, pick up the pace, speed things up and stuff. Yeah, a lot of good sequence. Anderson, yeah, Anderson kind of still got it. Yeah, he's still moving good. Yeah, I'll give him that. Like, he can still go. Yeah, So, also a little fun fact. I mean, yeah, I mentioned last week. Yeah, he runs a wrestling school in Minnesota. One of those students is actually a current WWE Women's Champion right now. One Tiffany Stratton. She was
Oh shit.
yeah, yeah, that's right. She was she. I mean, she wasn't there for a while, but yeah, she did train in Anderson School for a bit. Anderson talked about on the Chris Van Vliet interview. So yeah, yeah, Anderson, yeah, he's yeah, still in the business, training some young studs and stuff. I think I don't know if it's true. The dude that got squashed by Mike Santana last week, I think he's one of his students,
Oh, okay.
probably. But yeah, this was a good way to build up Frankie's Macklin match towards tomorrow. Macklin, of course, got the pin. Uh, we'll get into it, the predictions in a minute. But yeah, this was a good way to close off the go home show. Close off the Minnesota shows too. What was your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, no. Again, this was a fun match. Pretty predictable outcome. You know what I mean? It should be expected. You know what I mean? You want that feel good moment. Anderson getting the win, his hand raised on the winning team. Yeah, this was fine. I was fine with it. Good, and yeah, overall, this is a very solid go home show. Okay, before we not wrap things up, before we get into the predictions, finish off with the predictions. Do you have any final thoughts on the show?
Um, this was a very loaded show. Yeah. From segments to good matches to previews. So yeah, I can't complain.
Okay, yeah, I completely agree with you. Okay, let's move into our Victory Road predictions. Tomorrow night, Victory Road coming from I believe we are in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have the card. I have the card right here. Our first match is Cedric Alexander versus Trey Miguel versus Zachary Wentz in a three-way. Obviously, TNA knows how to do three-way. This should be a banger. Who do you got in this one?
Yeah, this is a good way to kick off. I mean, this is a good way to yeah, this is a good three-way countdown to start things off. You got three talented wrestlers. I'm gonna go with maybe Zach. Um, because in case like Myron doesn't beat Leon. Who's next for Leon? I would say probably Zach. That probably be a good, interesting match.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna go with Zach once.
You know, yeah, I was gonna say Trey, but yeah, Zach. I agree with you, Zach, and I think just him, Leon going kind of through the Rascals would be interesting. You know what I mean? Just because him having that in this run that he's defeated all three Rascals. That's an interesting. I mean that's a good list to have in his resume in terms of this title run. But yeah, no, I'm gonna go with Zach Wentz. Okay. Next, we have the Nemets, Nick and Ryan, taking on Matt Cardona and the Hometown Man. I'm gonna go with the Nemets. Let's keep their heat going. Let's have them beat the hometown, so-called hometown man in Cardona in Canada.
Yeah. I mean, don't be surprised if Cardona, the hometown man, gets the win. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna go with them. Yeah. And
obviously,
plus,
I had no
it'll
problem.
be payback for the hometown man because the Nevis beat down him a couple weeks ago and stuff, which led to Nick
Mm-hmm.
Nemeth getting suspended. So
Okay.
what's
Next, we're gonna
interesting?
have.
Sorry, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No,
What's interesting is that this is the first time Nick Nemeth and Cardona are going to be squaring off in some way here in the TNA ring because they have history. So
Oh well, yeah, yeah. Which again, that's what I love about wrestling. Like, even if you don't watch, I mean, TNA, you might watch, yeah, obviously a WWE, so you're aware of this, right? You know what I mean? If you're new to TNA, you know they have history. So,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. I'm trying to find the next match. I lost the card. Sorry. Okay, next we have Eric Young taking on Joe Henry.
Um.
I think Eric wins, obviously, and I think we
Yeah.
get some sort of uh debut here.
Yeah. I'm not so sure where this is going. Like, or this is probably like a one and done thing. But if it is, I'm probably gonna go with EY because yeah, because eventually some eventually he's gonna have to like reveal what is he talking about as far as the cleanse and stuff. So like, will it happen tomorrow at Victory Road? Who knows? But I'll say it could go either way. But I'm gonna say EY for now. But then again, don't be surprised if Hendry gets if Hendry pulls the win here. So it's very interesting.
Um, I could see just because they did have that big guy, because I'm going with EOI as well. They did have that big guy in the crowd talking about having the cleanse sign. I
Yeah,
could see this being a situation where the Righteous debut. You know what I mean? You have a Righteous
yeah,
and EY beat down of. I think him with EY, them with EY would be pretty good. But
yeah.
yeah, I'm going with EY. Yeah, because I just want to see some, some surprises tomorrow.
I feel.
Okay, next we're gonna move into Rich Holland versus Mike Santana. I totally forgot about this. I'm going with Mike Santana, obviously. I don't think he's losing.
Yeah. Um. So this is apparently Trick paying Rich Holland to take out Mike Santana. So yeah, that's gonna backfire. And yeah, Santana, taking down another roadblock to as he hits the Bound for Glory. So yeah,
I like how that's kind of been the thing why to prolong this feud because it was ultimately going to be at Bound for Glory. So, you know what I mean? Just Trick just putting more obstacles in his way. This is, you know what I mean? And I'm not trying to put this in the air. I really hope Ridge doesn't for real take him out. And the people might know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? The reference I'm making. But yeah,
oh yeah,
I hope
oh yeah.
Santana.
I've definitely thought that. Yeah,
Yeah, just I hope this goes smooth. Santana walks out of there fine on to Bound for Glory. Okay, next we're gonna go with the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team Title match. It's the Elegance brand, obviously Heather and M with the Personal Concierge versus the Inspiration. What are you thinking here?
this one's pretty interesting because this is the Inspiration's the third chance at the belt since coming back. So you kind of figure like, okay, like what happens if they don't win? Like, is that it for them? Or and what's interesting too is that Cassie Lee got pinned in the 6 woman tag last week. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so usually that kind of like sets the tone. It's like, oh, like if this person gets the win on the if this person gets the pin on the go home show or a few weeks before the go home show, like kind of sets it far like, oh, they're not gonna get the win on the event. I don't know. That's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of from based on history. Um then again, you have the Elegance brand, who's very cunning and very cunning and very tactical. Like they're willing to cheat to
Mm-hmm.
do as much. I mean, it's like they're willing to cheat to do as much as they can to retain those belts. So we can't leave that aspect out. So safe bet, I'll just say Elegance brand for now, cause based on their track record. So if the inspiration is gonna beat them, it's gonna it's going to take a lot more. It's going to take a lot more, yeah, to throw them because yeah, again, the Elegance brand, they're very tactical and very strategist, very strategic and stuff. So,
If the plan, because a lot of people think Ash is losing at BFG, if that's the plan, and the combination of the inspiration, again, this there being their third shot, and you really don't want to metaphorically bury them in the sense that having them lose 3 title shots. Obviously, be one of those situations where you don't want to see them get a title shot against these current champs as long as they're champions. Um, but I think I am just going to go. I think I'm going to take a shot and just say I think the Inspiration do win because this starts the Elegance brand losing their titles. I don't want that to happen because I just think they're just now they're hitting their stride. But you know what I mean? Just like you said, I don't think they're going to have them lose 3 times because they did sign like a year-long deal, right, with TNA.
yeah,
The Inspiration.
yeah, I think they signed a 1 year deal.
Yeah. Okay. Next, we're going to move on to the TNA International title match. Steve Macklin versus Frankie Kazarian. Um, I think Frankie's winning, and I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, it's very possible Frankie might win this. Um, it's very possible Frankie might win this because they gotta find eventually they gotta keep finding something for him, especially if he's not gonna be in the world title picture right now. And eventually, yeah, I mean Macklin's been doing a good job, taking down all challengers and stuff. So you just kind of figure, okay, who's actually gonna dethrone him? I thought it'd be Jake something, but I guess that's not the case anymore. So I'm gonna go with Frankie. I mean, yeah, Frankie as international champ should probably be a different. So, I mean, different, fresh change for now. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they might continue to feud from after. So we'll see.
Okay. Next time we're going to move into like what I think again match of the week, possible match of the year contender. Leon Slater taking on Myron Reed in the TNA X Division Championship match. Again, I alluded to it earlier. I kind of want Myron to win, um, but you know what I mean. I don't think that happens. But again, I think Leon does win, but my heart is going with Myron. What are you thinking?
Leon, this is going to be a good way to. This is going to be This is going to be a good match for Myron. I mean, for both guys, especially Myron, to showcase, to the TNA audience, and probably those who are not familiar with his work, what he's capable of on his own. Because he still is no diss to him, the lesser known rascal. Um, both Trey and Wentz, they were X Division champions, tag champs. So it's kind of like, okay, like what's he bringing into the table? Like, can he hang without his brothers tag match and da da da. So I mean, me knowing Myron Reed for a while, like from his MLW run, and he's doing good on the Indies right now too, and Revolver and stuff. So I think yeah, Myron's up for the challenge. So this is definitely going to be a match folks are definitely want to see. So yeah, Leon
Yeah,
Slater.
yeah. It's obviously one thing for sure. It's going to be a banger. I do think Leon wins, but I have no problem if Myron did win again. But yeah, I don't think Leon's running anytime soon. Okay, last night I should have done this match. The one we just talked about last, and the other one. This one I'm going to say now before, but we were going with Moose versus Mustafa Ali. Ali. Obviously, the stakes are winner gets the man advantage in the hardcore war. Who you going with?
Um, as usual, in a match like this, especially for like Lethal Lockdown War Games or Hardcore War, the heels always get the advantage. So I'm gonna go with Mustafa. Expect the Bar Burner Classic because you got two of the very best TNA has right now, and Moose and Mustafa. So I think we're gonna get a Bar Burner Classic. Moose is gonna very wow a lot of people. Mustafa can show like he can hang with whoever TNA brings in. So yeah, definitely go with Mustafa.
Yeah, I think obviously the heels get the man advantage because I do think the system will win. Will win Hardcore War. But yeah, Ali wins. This is a no brainer.
Yeah,
Just because there Ali obviously is arguably. I don't think it's. I don't think it's. I wouldn't argue much. I would agree. I think he's a top heel. So Ali all the way.
definitely. It's on its way to the world title eventually. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. I think that's a given. Um, yeah, he's been incredible in this run with TNA. Okay, that's it. That's wrapped it up, everyone. I think the Victory Road is going to be again. You can call it a B show just because it's not one of the big four they would classify as a pay per view. They call it a TNA special, but no way does that mean that TNA's out there half assing putting in a, you know what I mean, low effort. You know what I mean. This is going to be a really good show.
definitely.
I think a lot of match of the night. I mean, a lot of there's so many matches that could steal the show. You know, from what you would expect to. So, yeah, definitely. I hope everyone tunes in tomorrow. Uh, we'll be watching. Cause we're gonna have a review for you on Saturday. But I want to thank you guys all for joining. I want to thank Al for joining. Before we get out of here, Io, do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, keep watching TNA. Good things are coming on the horizon, especially with this partnership. I got a feeling, yeah, after Bound for Glory, things are very heating up. But yeah, in the meantime, uh, it's in the meantime, yeah, things are going well in the pro wrestling scene. A lot of companies, pull on good shows. Ignore the hate, ignore the criticism, enjoy what you like, and all that, and stuff. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, take it easy, everyone.
No, exactly. Well said. I like completely agree with you. Just keep watching TNA, keep supporting TNA. Like big things are coming. You know what I mean? Like it's if you're a diehard TNA fan, been in here a long haul. You know what I mean? It's you've been waiting for it, and yeah, I think it's happening. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys all for joining. Make sure to like and subscribe so we can get notified of whenever we go live, whenever the great people at Body Slam go live. All right. With that being said, have a great night. See y'all later.
Good night.